Our first guest this evening is the top conservative in the Texas Senate with a phenomenal track record of military service, business experience, and an unwavering love of Israel and the United States. Like so many of us, he believes we must stand up for our values, freedoms, and liberties in order to secure a bright and prosperous future for this generation and for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Texas Senator Bob Hall.
Well, sure good to see you all here tonight. Before I get started, though, are there any veterans in the audience? The veterans stand up. Would you hold your applause if you would? Would you stand up? Quite often we do this, and people just applaud and they sit down without giving any real thought to what these men and women actually did. At one point in their life, they stepped up and signed a blank check for their life, payable to the American people. They put it all on the line with no reservation. And what they went and did in protecting our liberties, in defending us from foreign enemies, is something that should inspire us to do more work and work harder at defending ourselves from our domestic enemies that are coming after us. And so let's give these men and women the respect that they need, they deserve, by a strong round of applause, and thank them for what they've done to defend our country. Thank you, guys. You know, the purpose of government is to protect liberty. It's not to provide free stuff. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you know, one of the most heinous issues we're facing here today in Texas is allowing the sex transgender of our children with gender dysphoria, a condition which is a person has experienced distress because they feel that their physical sexual characteristics do not align with what they feel inside. It has nothing to do with biology. And before they even reach puberty, before they can even understand what sex is, and I don't think there's many people here that I have to explain what it is, but that is the problem. We're trying to teach something to kids that they don't understand because they don't feel what it takes to complete the process. These children are given puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones at a very young age, and some minors eventually undergoing surgeries to complete their transition. Surgeries that are irreversible, even though some have tried. And we've had testimony in our hearings of people, one person there 3 times, 3 surgeries, trying to chase identity. Children. I'm talking about under 18. I mean, over 18, folks, people can do what they want to do. That's their individual liberty to choose. I'm talking about the group of people that we take on a responsibility to protect. Folks, we don't even let children under 18 get tattoos. They can't drink alcohol. And we have a responsibility because we know their minds are not developed to where they could make the decisions for themselves. These procedures are not only immoral, but they're irreversible, life-altering, and even dangerous. The suicide rate for transgenders is tremendously high. And there are many cases of adults who regret this and have gone back to try one more time to go back to where they started from. You know, in addition to puberty blockers given to these children can have negative long-term effects on bone density, fertility, and health in general. This is the medical side of it. It is very, very debilitating. The Williams Institute estimates that there are about 150,000 youth ages 13 to 17 in the U.S. that identify as transgender. This demographic is the fastest growing number among all ages. And if any of you have seen the documentary Mind Polluters, you will understand why this is happening, why there is several 1,000% increase in the last few years of gays, homosexuals, and transgenders. It's estimated about over 26% of gender dysphoric people resort to substance abuse as a means of coping, and 30 to 50% will attempt suicide. Nearly 42% report a history of self-injury, such as cutting. Children with autism spectrum disorder are 7 times more likely to identify as transgender or non-binary than the general population. And this transgender problem is gaining increased attention worldwide, in the United Kingdom and here in the U.S. Other countries have taken steps already, like the United Kingdom, to stop the treatments of children. There are other states that have attempted it. We attempted it this last time. We had multiple bills that could not get passed. We got them out of the Senate, but we got hung up in the House. And so I hope this next session that we will have enough changes in membership in the House, that we will actually have a House of Republicans, and it'd be enough to have a backbone in it to stand up for what need to have happening. Someone classified this as child abuse. Well, it is child abuse, but it is not a CPS child abuse issue. This is a medical community child abuse issue, a parental child abuse issue that promotes and supports it. Had legislation last session. I'm working on it again this session. We'll put an end to this terrible practice. The end is not going to come from having CPS declare it to be child abuse, because until the governor issued his letter, the practice of CPS was just the opposite. That if a child called CPS and reported their parents as not being willing to let them have the puberty blockers or surgery, the parents were charged with child abuse. That's the way it has historically happened. No, we have to stop it with the doctors and the insurance companies. Take away the ability of doctor to get the insurance and prohibit them from being able to do it, to issue the drugs or to perform surgeries. Under 18. I said after 18, they are welcome to do whatever they want to. And God doesn't make mistakes. My God does not make mistakes. And those of you who don't know me, I first served my God. I'm a constitutional conservative with Judeo-Christian values. And I serve my God first, my family second, and the people of Texas now third. And I know that our God does not make mistakes. Each one of us was fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. And His sovereignty, He gives them the body and the gender that He knows is best for them, that's right for them. Therefore, it is absolutely abhorrent to interfere and harm these precious children in these dangerous ways. Now we're going to talk more about this a little bit later, and there are so many other issues with what's going on in our education system. I could stand up here all night and I would make some people really unhappy doing that.